Hello everyone. Today we're going to be working on Module 4, Lesson 5. In this lesson we will be solving word problems involving the division of whole numbers with answers in the form of fractions or whole numbers. This is very similar to what we did in class today. Okay, here's our first problem. A total of 2 yards of fabric is used to make 5 identical pillows. How much fabric is used to make each pillow? The first thing we have to do is figure out what do we know. Do we know the parts or do we know the whole? And the best way to do this is to simply visualize those 2 yards of fabric. And in order to make my pillows, I'm going to cut that 2 yards of fabric up into 5 identical chunks. That means that 2 yards is going to be my whole. So I'm going to draw a tape diagram. And I'm going to label my 2 yards, and then I'm going to have 5 identical pillows, so I have to divide it into 5 parts that are equal. And we are trying to find out how many yards are in each part. Now, this looks similar to a subtraction problem where we know the whole and some of the parts, but it's different because we know the whole and we know how many parts and we know they're all the same size, but we don't know how much is in each part. And that means that it is division. So our division problem could be written as 2 divided by 5. And of course, another way to write that is as a fraction, 2/5. Okay? And we're going to do a check, which means that if we had 2/5 in each of these sections for each pillow, our check would be 5 times 2/5, or 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus 2/5 plus our last 2/5, and that is going to equal 10/5. And of course the simplest form of 10/5 is 2. So it checks, and we're going to write a sentence as our answer. Each pillow uses 2/5 yard. Okay, this is the problem that will be number 1 on the quiz. An ice cream shop uses 4 pints of ice cream to make 6 sundaes. How many pints of ice cream are used for each sundae? So right now, I want you to visualize the 4 pints of ice cream, the sundaes, what's going to happen to the ice cream, and I want you to, on a scratch paper, make a tape diagram, and then go to the quiz, and on the quiz you'll see this problem, and I want you to write in as your answer the division problem and a sentence that tells the answer. Here's our next problem. An ice cream shop uses 6 bananas to make 4 identical sundaes. How many bananas are used in each sundae? So I'm going to think about what is happening with the bananas, because that's what our question is about. Oops, not sure what's happening here. Multicolors. There, let's try this. I'm going to visualize the bananas because that's what our question is about. And I know I have 6 bananas, and I'm going to make 4 identical sundaes. So in my mind, I'm seeing those 6 bananas, and they're going to have to be used in 4 sundaes. So I am thinking that my whole is going to be 6 bananas, and I have to divide them up evenly among 4 sundaes. And I want to find out how many bananas will go in each sundae. Now the thing I notice here is that the whole is larger than the number of the parts. So my answer won't be a fraction, it's going to be larger than 1. And however, 4 will not go into 6 evenly, so I know my answer will be a mixed number. So of course, this is just 6 divided by 4 will be my expression. And I can state that as a fraction, which is 6/4. And then I need to find the simplest form, which would be 1 whole, because 4 will go into 6 one whole time. I'll have 2/4 left over. And of course, that simplest form of 2/4 is 1 1/2. So I will need 1 1/2 bananas in each sundae. And I'm going to do a check by taking 1 1/2 and adding it 4 times. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, of course, is 4. So when I add my whole numbers, I get 4, and 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, another 1/2 plus 1/2 is another 1. So I have 2 in the fractional parts, and when I add 4 plus 2 together, I get 6. So the answer is, that means it checks, my answer is over here, each sundae has 1 1/2 bananas. Whoops, bananas. Next problem. Julian has to read 4 articles for school. He has 8 nights to read them. He decides to read the same number of articles each night. How many articles will he have to read each night? Well, when we read carefully, we can see that our whole is 4 articles. That's what he is supposed to get done. And he has 8 nights to read them all. So we're going to take our whole and we're going to divide it into 8 equal parts. And we want to know how many articles will he have to read each night. That will be 1 part. So we want to know, that was not a very good question mark there. So we want to know how much of an article he will have to read every night. So here's the tape diagram. My whole is 4. It's divided into 8 parts. And my expression is 4 divided by 8, which as a fraction looks like 4/8. So we know that he will have to read 4/8 of an article. Now here's the interesting part of this problem. It would certainly not make sense for him to read any random 4/8. We're dividing our articles up into 8 pieces in this problem, and it wouldn't make sense for him to read 1/8 of an article and then 1/8 of another article and 1/8 of a third article and then the 1/8 of a fourth article. So really, in reality, what he's going to want to do is read 1/2 of an article every night. The first half one night, the second half the next night. First half of another one the third night, second half, so that he does it in a logical fashion. So this is a place where it's really important that we put our answer into the simplest form, because if it's not in simplest form, it could lead us to some thinking that is just illogical. Now for our next question, what fraction of the reading assignment will he read each night? So the reading assignment, this is a tricky question. The reading assignment, he has 4 articles but those 4 articles are one reading assignment. They were all assigned at the same time. So he's still got 8 nights. And the question is, what fraction of the reading assignment? So our 4 articles, the way that it's worded now, our 4 articles become one reading assignment. So this is one whole, and this will be 1/8 of the whole that he is reading. Okay? Your next quiz question is somewhat similar to this, where you're going to have to answer a question about how much, and you're also going to have to answer a question about what is the fraction of the whole. So you'll have to put in 2 answers. I need you to review this problem, make sure that you understand it, because the next problem on the quiz is along these same lines. Good luck, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.